If you don't already know, my name is Eva Garcia. I am the project manager for the Caracara Trails. I am an employee of the Rails to Trails Conservancy. And I am lucky enough and proud to be a part of this project and working with so many passionate people in our community. What we're doing today is we want to call it Infrastructure Day, highlight so much of everything that all of these partners have been working on, not only doing the groundbreaking for the historic Battlefield Trail extension. The historic Battlefield Trail is a 8.5-mile trail through the city of Brownsville from downtown up here to the Palo Alto National Historical Park. With the vision of the Caracara Trails, which is a 428-mile network that plans to connect our region and our goals. It's more than just infrastructure and trails. It's a vision of healthier community, a place where people are able to be physically active when and where they want to be, no matter where you live. And we want to center our health and our well-being and translate that into economic strength for our community. So the trail network, a little bit of history, was envisioned in 2014. Some of you may remember that Bike Texas had the Texas Trails and Active Transportation Conference. And with the School of Public Health help, we were able to send a large cohort to this conference to educate ourselves about the benefits of trails and what it can do to connect our communities. After we all came back from the conference, a core group of individuals got together and applied to the Valley Baptist Legacy Foundation for a grant to develop this vision, these goals, and the network that we're proposing to build today. So a lot's happened since 2014. We developed the plan in 2016, and it was adopted by 10 municipalities. In 2017, we partnered with National Parks Conservation Association and developed, well, let's give it a round of applause for our challenge participants. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed your walk. So many of them, I think, from my understanding, it was their first time here to the park. So this may be the same for some of you in the audience. How many of you are here for the first time to Palo Alto? Wow, that's awesome, bringing so many new people here. Well, we hope with this Battlefield Trail extension, we'll continue to bring more visitors to the park, but also into our communities. So as I was saying, we developed the plan. We did an economic impact study. We partnered with the Rails to Trails Conservancy. We did a branding and marketing study. And the plan, which was the LRGV Active Plan, is now the Caracara Trails. And that was an 18-month process with focus groups, surveys throughout the country and Mexico and throughout the state to be able to develop what we could use to identify our region. And as you know, we have over 400 miles of birds flying through the migration season. And so it's a huge birding community, and the Caracara is the Mexican eagle. It's a beautiful bird that you can find nesting and flying through the valley. So today we're here to break ground, but we're also here to celebrate all of the cumulative and collaborative work that's propelling this vision forward. It's not only the city of Brownsville and Palo Alto that are breaking ground on projects. The city of Harlingen has the Arroyo Trail extension, which will go to Dixieland Park. We have the Cameron County is building the South Texas Ecotourism Center. We have so many other projects that we're going to talk about today, and we're not done yet. We continue to write grants and work together to help complete the network that we're just beginning. And so to get us started, I'd like to introduce Liz Thorson from the Rails to Trails Conservancy. She is our president of trail development. Please give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Good. I'm Liz Thorstensen. I'm the Vice President of Trail Development at Rails to Trails Conservancy. I'm so happy to be here with you this morning to celebrate this moment. At Rails to Trails Conservancy, we are so committed to connecting trails and bringing comprehensive trail systems together. We know that that's really what connects people, and that's what we're trying to do in 8 diverse places across the country in what we call our Trail Nation program. And so we're so honored and so proud that Caracara Trails Network is one of those 8 places. And it's so incredible, the uniqueness that you have here in your beautiful region that Eva just talked about, all of the natural, environmental, cultural assets that you have, and this beautiful vision that you've all developed together to link these assets together and use them for economic benefit, for your health, with our walkers this morning, and just to connect with each other, your community, and to hopefully, bolster economic development, bring in ecotourism, and really strengthen the region through these trails. So this really wouldn't be possible, this moment that we're celebrating today, this historic battlefield connection to the rest of the Caracara Trails network, without the great investment that's coming from both public and private dollars. So once again, we want to give a huge thank you to the Valley Baptist Legacy Foundation. Please join me in thanking them for their investment that's groundbreaking this morning. And the amazing work of all of you, the city of Brownsville, coming together across the public and private investment to make these kinds of projects possible. And we know that as the network continues to build out, it will be these kinds of amazing partnerships of volunteers, advocates, planners, city leaders, the private sector, foundations coming together to make all of this happen. So thank you so much for having us. Thank you for celebrating this moment this morning. And I am so pleased to welcome City of Brownsville Commissioner Rose Gowan to the podium.
Thank you, Liz, and good morning. So, years ago when that core group talked about the concept of making ourselves a destination for active tourism, and we knew we had the partner of Legacy, and we knew that our 10 surrounding friendly neighbor cities were interested in the same thing, and everybody put money in the pot to accomplish what we needed to fund. And at those planning sessions, with a lot of community input, we talked about how curious it was that it was called the Legacy Foundation, because really what we were planning was truly a legacy that we would be leaving to our children and our grandchildren and beyond, and how apropos that was. So today is even more appropriate that we are starting the first shovel in the ground, the first inch of trail in that vision here at the National Park. Because right here, what happened here with the Mexican-American War, if it had turned out differently, we would not be who we are. We would be in the country of Mexico. And so this is really the place that determined who we are and which way we would go as we went into the future. So how appropriate that the legacy we're building for our children and our grandchildren is starting where we started, right here. And the Legacy Catalyst Project, Battlefield Extension Project, will carry us 1.8 miles that way towards Los Fresnos. And when it's completed, along with some other funds that are coming up, we will be the first 2 cities in Cameron County that will be connected to each other by trail. So again, another first, and that is thanks to the Legacy Foundation, but also thanks to those 11 cities that have a vision and keep working together to provide that legacy for our future. So with that, I would ask you to celebrate with us, tweet about it, post on Instagram, talk about it. If you've never come to the park before, there are trails already through the park. You can come up here through the Battlefield Trail. Check it out. In April, the cactus are all in bloom. Celebrate and discover where we began as a region and as a people. With that, I'd like to introduce Mark Milam, the city manager of Los Fresnos.
Thank you and good morning. Isn't it a truly Chamber of Commerce day for the Rio Grande Valley? Beautiful day. Glad to see everyone here. I was asked to share a little bit about Los Fresnos and how we connect in. Some 8-10 years ago, we started a project with our nature park. It was the last section of property in Los Fresnos that had not been developed, and we said we've got to somehow get a hold of that. We had some meetings with the county, and Mr. Javier Mendez was with them at that time, and we started working on grants, and we're able to put grant funding as well as city money to purchase those 23 acres and develop that into a nature park. That started a bigger plan is how do we connect folks from one place to another in the little community of Los Fresnos when the infrastructure wasn't built for that. Streets, sidewalks were just not developed that way. As we looked, we saw much the same that our neighbors from Harlingen, Brownsville, and other communities were already looking at as utilizing canals and drainage ditch easements to do that. So we were able to develop a plan to circle Los Fresnos and get those plans. We have $700,000 ready to be spent on that. $200,000 from Parks and Wildlife and $500,000 from the Legacy Foundation. And we are about 2 months away from going for bids on that, so that will be ready so that this connection can be there. We've always wanted to be able to connect our residents with Brownsville, and with what Brownsville's already done, our folks can go from Los Fresnos all the way to downtown Brownsville on trail, so it's an awesome thing. Can't wait till we can do the same to San Benito and Harlingen, and then as well to the island. I think that's all that I wanted to share. I did want to share something about when Orlando came to Los Fresnos and said, hey, would Los Fresnos be willing to participate in a grant to study? And I said, absolutely, but can we get everybody together? And I just wanted to end with that thought, and he says, yes, we can. And I said, let's do it. And I wanted to just say that partnerships and relationships are what makes things happen. And so thanks to everyone here, because there's so many players that made that happen. And when we do that, we can change the world and make a difference. So thank you, and hope to see you on the trail someday.
Thank you so much. So we are very excited to connect these two communities, and as Mark Mila mentioned, we have Los Fresnos working on their project. This project is about to start construction, and in between, we have Transportation Alternative Program funding to connect the gap, basically to fill the gap. And as he mentioned, we're not acquiring any land, we're using public lands. And so the city of Brownsville's land, through National Park Service land, along drainage canals, and then back again on city land. And so you can see here that these are really public spaces, and so we really want to activate those spaces. And right in between us, we have this beautiful park, Palo Alto, and I want to introduce Mr. Rolando Garza, who has a few words on their partnership with us. Thank you.
Good morning. I'd like to thank y'all for coming out to the park. Palo Alto Battlefield National Historical Park and the National Park Service is very excited to partner with the City of Brownsville and the Rails to Trails Conservancy to extend the historic Battlefield Trail. But before I go any further, I need to give a shout out to Mark Spear, the former superintendent here at the park who retired in September. This trail is definitely a part of his legacy from his 9-year tenure here. So thank you, Mark, and thank you for making this happen. Currently, the historic Battlefield Trail connects or provides the community with an environmentally friendly and healthy way to visit and learn about the 3 initial battlefields of the U.S.-Mexican War. What happened here on these fields in the spring of 1846 would lead to events that would forever change the face of the North American continent and forge the relationship between these two young republics. So if you have not visited the park, I would welcome you to come and learn about our heritage here. And if you have time, Saturday morning, we'll be doing a living history program from 10 to 1 o'clock just out here on the field. We'll have reenactors representing soldados, American soldiers, and we'll have a cannon out here as well. Currently, this 1.8 mile extension is the first project of 6 proposed trails that will eventually connect us to the city of Los Fresnos and the Bahia Grande unit of Fish and Wildlife Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge. This type of activity fits right in with the National Park Service's Healthy Parks, Healthy People initiative, which charges the national parks to contribute to a healthy, just, and sustainable world. And at that, I leave y'all and thank y'all very much for coming out.
Yes, so as Rolando mentioned, we are planning to connect Brownsville and Los Fresnos towards Bahia Grande Wildlife Park unit, and that gets us closer to Laguna Vista, I'm so sorry, and Port Isabel. And so I'd love to invite Commissioner Rios from the city of Port Isabel up to say a few words on the activities that are happening in Port Isabel. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. From the city of Port Isabel, I am honored to be here and representing the city. We're very excited about a very new project. It was in the works for a very long time. We have the Galvan Park coming up soon. It has started construction early January, and we're hoping to have it ready by May. This park is in honor of one of our past mayors, Arturo Galvan. And it's going to be a beautiful park. It's right on the bay. We're going to have a walking trail. We're going to have for bike rides. So you can have all the activities of getting your exercise in the morning, noon, afternoon, or evening. And you will have a beautiful view of our Laguna Madre Bay. You can have meditation there because the views is spectacular. So we're hoping to invite everyone to our groundbreaking, and we're very excited. So welcome and thank you. And like Mr. Milam said, it takes a village and it takes us to working together, and we're looking forward to working with Los Fresnos, Harlingen, and all our Valley sisters that hopefully we can make things happen and dreams come true. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So many people actually kayak, fish, and use this park in Port Isabel. And we're very excited to not only introduce multi-use trails through the Caracara Trails vision, but also to incorporate some kayaking trails, some paddling trails. And the paddling trails themselves, our goal is to connect South Padre Island, Port Isabel, all the way up to the Arroyo Colorado, so you can potentially kayak to Rio Hondo and Harlingen. And when we do that, we would be connecting the World Birding Center on South Padre Island to the World Birding Center in Harlingen. And so their Arroyo Trail is already right along the Arroyo as in its namesake. So there's just so many ways that we want to open up these environments and these spaces for people to be safe, healthy, active, and to learn about the environment that they're in, the heritage, the history that they're in. So one more person that I'd love to bring up, she is key to making all of this happen. She is just a powerhouse alone in itself, and so I'm honored to work with Dr. Belinda Reiniger. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm Belinda Reiniger. I'm the Regional Dean for the UT School of Public Health. And, you know, it is truly our pleasure to be a partner with all of these cities and all of these organizations. From the beginning, this group has wanted to make sure that that the decisions we make are based on research, that we are making a difference with every choice that we put in place. And so I wanted to highlight some of that research base that is influencing what you're hearing today. We know because of research on trail systems that when trails are connected, meaning they go somewhere that people want to go and they're connected to important places, that people are more likely to use them. How many times have we already heard in this presentation the connections that are here? And we did that on purpose, and it's going to benefit our community. We also know that when trails are aesthetically pleasing, that people want to be out there, that there's things to see, that people are more likely to use them. Again, how many times have we heard in this presentation that we're seeing historic sites, cultural sites, the beautiful landscape, the wildlife, that will be more available and more accessible for our population? Again, that was not by happenstance. That was because we're making purposeful choices to bring the very best to the people of the Rio Grande Valley. We also know that when trails are closer to someone's home, they're more accessible, that people are more likely to use them. This trail system is creating options across Cameron County for people to be able to get on a trail, go to work, go to school, go out for enjoyment. And so this again is purposeful, and we're so thankful for the partners who have embraced this. Ultimately, when we get people on trails based on international research, national research, and local research, when people are living nearer or being able to access a trail more easily, we know that they are more likely to meet physical activity guidelines. That means that each week they are getting enough physical activity to make a difference in their health. How much activity is that? It's about 150 minutes, 30 minutes, 5 times a day, walking briskly, running, burning some calories, just like our great examples who are here today. We're so proud of you. You guys are just representing the future of the valley and the health status of the valley. Thank you for doing that. So we want more people to be physically active. And the reason is when you meet those guidelines, you're more likely to delay the onset of a number of chronic diseases. And if you have a chronic disease already, like diabetes, and you're getting that physical activity, you're able to control it better. You're able to manage it better. So no matter what, it's a benefit for your health. When we're healthier, we're saving money. We're saving money on healthcare costs. We're saved as an individual and as a society. And also when we're healthy, and all of you know this, when you're feeling good, you're more productive, right? You're working harder, you're feeling better. Quality of life improves. So as an individual, I think we're each going to see benefits of this trail system, but as a community, I really love the representation that this system that it brings to us. We're coming together. We're changing our culture. We're changing our dynamics. We're working together. We're building action, and we're feeling empowered. We know that when we're outside and we're connected to nature, it's good for our mental health. This trail system is remarkable, and today is a momentous occasion, and the UT School of Public Health is so pleased to be a part of it and so proud of all the work that you all are doing. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. So, no, I couldn't have said it better myself. You see what we're doing here. We're also keeping more investment coming into the area or staying in the area as well. And so with that, we hope, this is the first groundbreaking, the first infrastructure day for the Caracara Trails Network. But there will be more to come. We're not going to stop. We have a lot of miles to build, a lot of parks to improve and connect to. And so let's get started on our first groundbreaking. I'd like to encourage, our partners to meet Brandy in the back. Come with me. We'll pick up a shovel and a helmet. Everybody else, please come join us for the photo. If you're a challenge participant or if you're just, a member of the audience, please come and stand around us and be a part of this milestone. Thank you so much.
witnessed is a tremendous partnership that has really led the vision. Because what happens is, I think this vision is very ambitious. It's not every day that you see something as significant as what the Caracara Trails represent. The difficulty sometimes to get all these stakeholders at the table saying yes at the same time and putting the resources behind it, and then getting the additional partners that come after. But just the public entities alone, it's a tremendous thing. It's a tremendous feat that has been accomplished here. So I think credit goes to the people that have not only envisioned the Caracara Trails, but that have built the relationships and the partnerships.
So this was the groundbreaking of the first segment of the Caracara Trails. Let's see, is it on this? Here we go, Caracara Trails. And it's a momentous occasion because it's the first piece of funding to accomplish the first Catalyst project within a 428-mile route or network of trails on-road, off-road, and on water to connect 11 cities to each other in Cameron County, and to connect those cities to their most historic, beautiful, environmental, and desirable sites, like the National Park at Palo Alto here. We think it's very appropriate that the Legacy Foundation funded this, because this really is a legacy that we will be leaving to our children and our grandchildren, and also very appropriate that the legacy will begin here at the National Park, marking the site that really defined who we would become in the future.
The benefits to the people in our communities have to be number one. I think the health, the physical health, the mental health, building community in terms of giving people a reason to want to engage with their own communities, because there's history, there's nature, there's environment, there's culture. And many times we lose sight of that. We lose sight of what we have available to us just in our backyard. So I think you look at the individual benefit to people, benefit to the communities and our society at large, and then you look at the kind of the bigger picture benefits of the economics of what this can do in drawing people here to take advantage of what we, the people, know we have in our communities, and to just really add to the personal, individual benefit that people will have. We want people, as quality of life is a big issue, and it's sometimes a loosely used term. And what does that really mean? I think this project and the benefits are very quantifiable. You can put numbers and determine how many people are healthier because of the network and other programs that are in place, right? How are we decreasing the rate of diabetes, for example, which really affects our community?
We know that we are an area of high poverty, and we're constantly trying to correct that, but you can't correct that overnight. So when you are in an area that's high in poverty and high health disparities, it's very easy to become sad and complacent and feel that there's just nothing you can do. This project is an example of what we can do despite the fact that we have all of those issues. Working together, finding those partnerships, committed to finding a way is the proof. We're seeing the proof today. So just because you're poor doesn't mean you can't have a fantastic project. But you can't do that without working together and vision and partnerships and really thinking outside the box to be able to accomplish that. You know, the best thing about trails, besides the beauty and the fresh air and the health, is that they're free.